everyone, Janet Gallo-Markowski here,
Hi, Melanie Flager is here.
and we hope that you're having a good week. We came up with our this week's thing, and it's gonna be saying goodbye to your fur babies. So I know it's not the most uplifting topic, but it is very relevant since by family, we just had to say goodbye to our senior most dude, who Aunt Melanie knew.
Of my Ralphie.
Yeah, and there's a whole blog talking. I did a whole eulogy sort of tribute, and so we were just sitting here talking about it, and I said let's make this the topic, because I did do a whole written piece that I turned into a blog, and I did that. I've actually done that with every dog that Daryl and I have said goodbye to. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4. Ralph would be the fourth. So, and I was telling Melanie the process that, like, I start thinking of it before, if assuming that it's not a tragic ending, which for 3 out of the 4 it wasn't. But I start thinking about it beforehand, and the night before, we knew that Ralph was probably, the vet was coming over the night before. He was laying in the corner of my room, and I had our other dog next to me, and I was saying it to him, you know, I was reading back his life to him, and you know, reminding him, like, of all the good times, which is reminding myself too. And you know, that basically became the written piece, and for some reason I need to get it out on paper, like memorialize them, or you know, you can call it a eulogy, you can call it an obituary. I call it an obituary too, but it's a lot longer than that because it's more personal, you know. But it just, before I could really move on and like put it to bed, like that's what I have to do.
I think that's beautiful though. It's almost like a journal page for you. It's almost like
It is.
like getting it out. Like you just have to get it out and put all those thoughts down on paper, and it's almost like a journaling page that you can just let out all your feelings about him.
Yeah. Because you know, you, like, as time goes on, I don't want to forget, or I want to at least have something that can remind me of all his idiosyncrasies. And he had a lot of them. I mean, all dogs do, right? Like, I don't care who you're, like, you have a dog, and I know Melanie has a dog, and like their idiosyncrasies bring you so much joy, right?
Yes.
Like Little Miss Trixie.
Yes.
Tell me an idiosyncrasy.
So Little Miss Trixie, I was telling Janet the other day. So we have 2 silver bowls, one for water, one for food. If I take the silver bowl and stick it in the dishwasher and give her just a regular bowl from my kitchen, she will not eat her food. It has to be the silver bowl. She will look at it, she'll look at me, she'll look at the bowl, she'll look at me, and she'll walk back into the other room, and she will not eat. The minute I change the food into the silver dish, she'll go right over and eat.
You're like, I'm cleaning it for you.
Yes, yes.
It's being cleaned.
Yeah.
Why can't you just wait, like, use this?
Yep.
Well, this is clean.
Yeah.
That one's dirty. You'd rather have the dirty one.
Yeah, so I have to now wash them by hand real quick. Dry them real quick because she will not eat her food. Like, what the heck? Are you hungry? Or like, I'm like, are you hungry or not, right? But that's one of her little idiosyncrasies. But listen, I just got her, so I've only had her like 3.5 months, so I'm still figuring out a little bit of her personality. But
what she does know, Trixie, in that short amount of time is that she rules the roost.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
She already knows. Like, the dogs,
yes,
they kind of come in, because she got Trixie when she was 5, about. We got Ralph at 10.5. We got Ginger when she was, I think, 3. Tootsie was 9 months. Like, once they realize that you're safe, like, they have to realize that you're a safe person, because they won't let their personalities unravel. It's like humans, right? When you know you're safe in a safe space, you'll start to be yourself. Well, they're the same way. Like, once, you know, they know that once she realized, like, this lady's keeping me, and not only that, she wants me to be as happy as I could possibly be, damn, they start directing traffic. They start telling you what is up. And I mean, me and Daryl joke will be like, they're full-time jobs, but it's only because we're so attentive
Yes.
to their needs.
They are full-time jobs, but I know, like, when you got Ralph and you had the other two were already there for a while, you bring Ralph in, he let the sisters know who was boss.
He really did.
Right?
He did right away. He was like, they knew. They figured out the pecking order on day one. Day one, there was no question. We're gonna leave him alone, because they were like running around him in the yard, and he was just walking through them like he was parting the sea. Like his eyes were just like, this is a house. You're nothing new. I've seen dogs before. Like, I know you're a dog, and I know you're a dog. And they were like, but you're a new one. And he's like, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
Just let me sniff and pee and go to the bathroom and check out this yard without you in my grill. Because they were all. But yeah, he did. They knew. They knew the pecking order real quick.
And it's always hard when you have to, like Janet and Daryl, you know, they made the very humane decision that it was time for Ralph to go. And I had a dog before Trixie that we had to make that decision. And as much as you go through it in your head, and you know that it is right, it's the toughest decision. It's the toughest decision.
It is, and I'm glad you brought that up, because this time really brought me to like more of an existential crisis than normal. Like I've had dogs where we've done this before, but this one was like, I guess we could call it guilt or questioning the decision. Was more it was more of an issue for me. And so I tried to I move away from it, right? So like when situations are you're overwhelmed, when I'm overwhelmed with emotion, something like this. When I'm overwhelmed with emotion, it's not the time to analyze anything. And it's not the time to really deep dive into like philosophical questions, because if I'm sad, everything looks bad.
Yes.
Right? So there is no, like, I gotta wait. I gotta like create some space from that event and like let the brain heal a little bit before I can really like sit down and say like, okay, why was this different, and what would I rather do in the future? And so as I have that space, and I've told Melanie this, so you could certainly share your viewpoint. It's right. So there's this point where they're functioning, but they're not functioning great, and you know they're on their health is deteriorating, and then you know there's a point where they can't let themselves out. They start to go to the bathroom on themselves, things like that. So it's like, at what point is it like, do you say, okay, like, you know, and why are we doing it at that point, as opposed to waiting? Or I've never had a dog pass organically, and I said that to the vet. I said, I've, you know, my entire life, you know, they get to the point where they either can't hold their bathroom anymore, and they're older, and you know, either my parents knew that, or we, with our dogs, but I've never had a dog where they're not, they look like they're about to pass organically, like just maybe not wake up.
I've never experienced that either. We've always, even growing up, every dog we've ever had, they've declined. You can see the decline, and we've always made the decision that now it's time. You know, now it's time. I just always never, I know with our dog before Trixie, I just didn't want to wake up in the morning and find her. I just didn't. I didn't know how I would handle that. I wanted to be able to say goodbye in a nice, humane way, and not have to deal with the added emotion of seeing them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just what we've always done. But I know, even with my Angel that we had to make that decision for, she was 17. That's a long time for a dog, and I knew it was time probably a few weeks before I did it. I was holding on a little, But then it became the point where I'm not doing this little beautiful animal any service. So she has no life. She had no quality of life. She wasn't eating. She wasn't standing up. She had no. So why, right?
That is it. I mean, there's like I think you touched on like the points that lead us to that decision, which is one, the trauma of her passing without you, because they hide away or they go outside and like then you find them. It's like the trauma of there's for some reason for us the living, and I don't know, we won't know because we're not in that direction, but for the living it's comforting to be by them.
Yes.
Even if for them they're like, just get away from me. We don't know that. We just know that for us we're like, we don't want you to be alone as you transition. And then so that point is fair. And then the second one, which I think is the more powerful one, is that when they're at a point where you feel they're in pain and they're suffering.
Yeah.
And you want that pain and suffering to go away because you know the ending anyway. Right? It's not like, well, they're gonna pull out of it. They could pull out of it.
Yes.
They're gonna stabilize and they'll have, it's that this is the direction it's going. You know that because they've been losing weight.
Yes.
They've been losing their function. They're 13. They're 17.
Yes.
They've lived a full life. So it's not like you're questioning, do they have something we can fix or patch up? It's like there's a point where it's definitive. Where you're like, no, this is, I love my husband. He's amazing. And God, he was jumping through hoops trying to get the dog to eat. When I tell you, he bought everything you could possibly think a dog would want to eat. And he was so frustrated. God bless him. He was so frustrated. And he'd report back to me and be like, I got liverwurst. I got this. I got hot dogs. I got, because he felt, I need to get this dog to eat. Like, it needs to eat. And then after a while, I was like, hun, this is what it looks like when a dog is about to pass.
Yeah.
Like, and I need to hear that too sometimes, right? Because I'm like, what could we do to make them better? Like, we started giving him like medication for arthritis, like maybe a couple weeks ago, and it like sort of helped. But I thought if he just had the arthritis medication.
Right.
And then it was like, that's what needs to happen to get him back to us.
Yeah.
But then he really didn't want to take it. Did not want to take that, and he didn't take any, he stopped eating.
Yeah.
So at that point, he's letting us know, in my opinion.
Yes.
He's letting us know.
Yeah.
He's trying to tell us, let me go.
I'm good. I'm tired.
Let me
I
go.
don't want to do this anymore, right? Because dogs, any animal, they have if they're hungry, they eat, right? So if they're hungry, they're eating, and they usually will eat anything. Most dogs are pretty much scavengers. They'll eat whatever. So that's always the first. When you see them starting to slowly lose weight or be disinterested,
lose their appetite.
Food,
Yeah, those are the signs.
Yeah.
Of,
and the hiding, like you said, Ralph had hidden under your deck and he had never done that before.
Right.
The hiding, because they love you and they want to be alone, right? They don't want.
Oh yeah, he did. He was like, why are you making me come out for this doctor who I've met? And he does nothing but poke and prod me. So I'm not coming out for this doctor because.
Yeah.
But we made him because.
Yeah, but I think it says a lot as a pet owner of how much we love our animals that we make the decision to make their last time comfortable. That shows we cared so much for them. We don't want them to be any more in pain than they already are. And that's beautiful, right? As a pet owner to say you love them so much that you wanted him to be out of pain and just said, you know what? Close your eyes and go to sleep, my friend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
and that's wonderful. That's what being a pet owner should be about, right? Always your pet being comfortable and loved.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So yeah, the opposite of that, it's like I remember you telling me the story. You said you watched someone, like, within your area, your house, that they would pick the dog up, bring it outside, pick it up, bring it out, like to go to the bathroom, and you could tell it was, you know, it's like, that's the flip side is that, you know, you get to, like, I don't know, like you said, it's like, who are you doing it for at that point?
Yes.
And I'm not judging, because people have to make their own decision. But like, for me, Ralph was still at a point where, like, he wasn't
right.
You know,
he could still get out the door if he needed to. He just moved real slow.
And the next step was going to be, he can't.
Yes.
And that wasn't far.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. He might have gone that day if the doctor didn't come. Anyway, so anyway, but
but he was a sweet. He was a sweet old dude.
Yeah, he was.
He was very sweet.
And they're worth every agonizing moment of saying goodbye.
Oh yes.
That's the other thing.
Yes.
Every moment of grief and crying, and even in the midst of like coming to the acceptance while he's still here, it's like I would do it. I remember thinking in the middle of it, like, you're worth it. You're worth this. Like, this will come and go. This will pass, but the days, the 820 walks, that's what matters.
Right.
You know?
And it shows too that we're this one beautiful pet that came into our lives. It doesn't ever stop us from not wanting another one. Not another one to replace that pet, but we always think, okay, it's time for another one. I need to help another soul, right? And you will find another old dude or dudette that needs some help, and I'll be getting a message saying, I'm going to pick up a dog.
There's no shortage of dogs looking for good homes,
especially senior dogs.
There's no shortage. So I'm sure when the time organically appears, like it did with Ralph, he was organic. I always say one of my favorite things to say is, you don't get the dog you want, but you get the dog you need.
Yes.
Right? So, like, because everybody's like, oh, I want a dog that this. It's like, you get the one you need. Like, you're going to get the one you need, not the one you want. But we always have in our minds what we think we want, but then realize, like, wow, I really needed this one, though. This is the...
you needed him, and he needed you.
And Trixie.
Did
you? We chased Trixie
We
down.
did. Janet helped me chase Trixie down. And when I went to get Trixie, there was she's a poodle mix. There was two little poodle mix in this little pen. And Trixie was the quiet one in the corner who looked at me with these big sad eyes. The other one was very barking, whimpering, and my daughter was with me, and we both looked into those eyes, and I was like, I want that one. Because her eyes told me she needed to be loved. She needed to be loved. And we made the right choice.
Yeah, you did. Their eyes will get you. Don't look into their eyes, because you'll just be like, come home with me.
Yes. And she just looks at you with those sad eyes. And I'm like, okay, what do you want? And I go through the list. What do you want? Do you want this? Do you want this? And she gets whatever she wants.
She comes here to the studio. This is the Pro Yoga and Fitness. And so Melanie comes in every once in a while, and when no one's here, and she brings Trixie now, which I love. So we get Trixie energy.
We do. I have a big fluffy blanket in my car, and I bring the blanket in. I put it on the floor, and she watches me.
Yeah.
Whether I'm stretching or whatever I'm doing, and she lays on the blanket and just watches me.
Yep. It's so awesome.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So, well, if this resonated, any piece of this resonated with you, then we'd love to hear your stories. We'd love if you dropped pictures of your pet.
Oh, that would be awesome.
We love seeing everybody else's fur babies happy as well. So, thanks for listening.
Thanks.
And if you have a topic that you would love to hear us talk about, drop it.
Let us know.
Thank you.